So thank you so much for joining us. My name is Kata. I'm the People and Culture Lead at ShakePay. We're here with Jonas Eyford, CEO of Recharge Wellness, and we're going to be focusing on talking about how you can recharge your energy levels. Before we really jump into it, really small housekeeping things. On the side, you can see there's chat functions. Feel free to chat in at any point, put in some questions. I'll be monitoring that. If you have any burning questions, you can raise your hand and we can bring you up to the stage so your face can be shown, just like Jonas and I. During it, you can also see there's a little emoji section. So feel free to use the emojis, send a reaction if anything really connects with you. And then at the end, we'll save about 5-ish minutes for some Q&A. So feel free again to save your questions for there or just keep chatting in. We want to make sure everyone's involved and engaged. So introducing Jonas. Jonas is phenomenal. He's got a massive passion for uplifting others. He's going to be breaking down for us how each of the elements of our days impact our physiology, and will share with us how we can reliably improve our energy levels. Jonas runs Recharge Wellness, a company focusing on EAP alternatives, so engaging staff and people to improve their lives and their health. Through his work, Jonas helps Canadian companies enhance employee experiences with a one-on-one wellness support service. So enough from me, and I'll let Jonas take it from here.
Thank you kindly for that introduction. Good to see everybody here. Welcome. I want to tackle something kind of interesting. I love taking on unique challenges, and this one is optimizing our energy levels. It's something that I feel like I'm only partly qualified to speak on because, well, one, I'm human. We all have energy levels, and I've had my own experiences, but also I've spent many years of my life now trying to understand physiology, how our bodies work, how our nervous system works. And so I've learned a little bit about that, and then I've paid a lot of attention to how what works, what doesn't with people over the years. So I'm kind of compiling, drawing on a little bit of research, a little bit of my academic background, a little bit of experience, a little bit of observation, and trying to put together a really practical way that you can rely on to consistently and measurably improve your energy levels. Maybe I shouldn't use the word measurably because we'd all measure that in different ways, I suppose, but reliably. And this is a topic I feel is interesting to approach because we often have our energy levels just be the result of the things we're doing, and we don't really attack changing our energy levels very methodologically. So that's my goal, is to give you a little bit of a very simple structure to apply a methodology that can reliably improve your energy levels. And that is just to say that there's a lot of things going into our energy levels. Our biology, our neurophysiology, what we're consuming, right? Our food, our water, all our nutrients in our body and lack of nutrients in our body. Our sleep is a huge factor. Our personality, our mood, our situation, the lighting. There's a ton of different factors, okay, that influence internally, externally. What I want to say is that we have control over most of them. And I think that most of us don't do well in managing and optimizing our energy levels because it's so overwhelming. It's kind of like when we're trying to improve sleep. Sleep has all these different factors that influence it. And so when people try to improve their sleep, they try to grab onto something. Oh, I need melatonin. Oh, it didn't work. Well, that's just one of like 60, 70 different factors. So of course it didn't. This is the same with energy. It's so multifactorial. So we need a structure. We need an approach to be able to do stuff that generally will work for us. And that then we can really fine tune the way that we optimize our own energy levels. So what I want to give you today is like this little framework, this model that you can apply, you can use at any point in your day, in your week, in your month, in your life, to be able to just say, I don't feel my best and I want to feel better. This is what I do, 1, 2, 3. That's what today's about. Okay, I told you a little bit about why I'm talking to you, where this came from. So this is the basic bare bones structure. This is the methodology. And we'll talk about the details of what this entails, but really we're doing 3 things, okay? We're calming your nervous system. We're reconfiguring some stuff in your body, and then we're invigorating. So bottom line is, 10 out of 10 people, if we can change your physiological state by doing these three things, or we can change your physiological state by doing these three things if we do something in each of these categories, one after the other. Okay? So calming ourselves is something that few of us do well because we spend all our time trying to stimulate ourselves. At least this is true for me. It's always about stimulants, caffeine, my weakness. We love to be engaged. We love to be thinking, coming up with ideas, connected, enthusiastically connected with other people. And so we're rarely spending time figuring out how to better calm our nervous system. And it is a skill. It is a practice. And it's something that we should invest a little bit of time to figure out because it's very powerful when it's done right. It's just maybe not as exciting as doing the opposite. So we're going to dive into what each of these mean. Calming the nervous system is something we can do in a lot of different ways. These are the very simplest ways. And this is not groundbreaking, I realize that, but we're going to come back to how this all pieces together, how we can use these really simple practices. So these are the main ways we can just calm ourselves in ways that don't take a lot of time. Because of course you can calm yourself by spending 24 hours at a premium spa. But in reality, we have just little blips of time that we can optimize to improve our energy levels that we can use. So stillness. If you did nothing else, but in the middle of your day when you felt overwhelmed and tired, if you did nothing else but lie down, this would help you. Literally changes the state of your nervous system. It's subtle, but it does. Okay, and this is measurable. So we can put electrodes in your brain. We can have biofeedback and see the difference in your body when just 5 minutes of being still. You can have your mind racing. You can be stressed out still. You can, there's a lot of things that other factors that are involved, but even just that alone can be powerful. So stillness is helpful, but if you're trying to be still in a position that you're uncomfortable in, it doesn't quite work. So you need to seek a little bit of comfort. That can be just some pillows and being on the couch. It can be a yoga mat and a little support for your neck or your back or your legs. Whatever comfort means to you, take away the pain because pain or strain is distracting for your brain and therefore your nervous system. Light stimulates your retina, which sends signals to your brain, which tells it to go, 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 go. So if we dim the lights, you're literally sending a different type of signal to your brain to do something different, which can have a calming effect, especially when added on to these other elements. Sound buffers. Anybody who's been around construction noise knows that sound is irritating, and irritating is not good for your nervous system and your stress levels. So using any kind of sound buffer, this can be literally just music, playing nice music is a sound buffer. Having sound blocking headphones, both at the same time, wonderful. Now combine all three of these together and you have a very practical way to calm your nervous system. Lie down with some nice headphones and some classical music or whatever you like to listen to in some low light for 5 minutes. Boom. Very practical way to calm your nervous system. The more of these you do together, the more effective it's going to be. Now, also keep in mind, if you're doing all these things still, if you're sleeping horribly and you're an insomniac and you're not hydrating and eating reasonable food, it impedes your ability to even get to the point where this is having an effect. So keep that in mind. We have to have a reasonable baseline to be doing this. Maybe your efforts might be better served at improving your sleep if that's something that is a big barrier for you. Now, rebalancing, reconfiguring the body. This is my personal expertise as the chiropractor. This is where I'm just suggesting that you really tune in, either by spending some time thinking about this or asking for someone's help, like a therapist, a diagnostician, a chiropractor, an osteo, whatever, whoever you'd like to see. Figure out what in your body needs work. Okay, where do you build up strain? Is it all here? Do you get tension up here? Do you have a strained low back from sitting too much? Do you have, tight neck and tight muscles here giving you migraines and that distract you? What is it for you? And then be very specific. In the 5 minutes or so that you want to spend on reconfiguring the state of your body, you should know where you carry your strain so you know what to do. And you should do two things. One, stretch to relax it. And two, strengthen to prevent it from becoming an issue in the future. So lots of simple examples that I'll just skim over here. But if it's your low back, for example, the simplest thing you want to do is put your back, if it's always in flexion, into extension, and do a hip flexor stretch, because your hip flexor muscles are always tight when you're sitting, so you want to stretch them out. That's where you get compressive tension. You're not tight in the low back, you're strained because you're stretched. So you don't need to stretch your low back if your low back is sore from sitting. The dead bug or the cat-cow, really nice ways to get gentle movement that get your back sort of reconfigured into a decent position and relaxed up. With your neck, if you're building up and holding a lot of your strain up here, then that's where you should be stretching. You stretch your traps, which is the easiest part of your neck to stretch, and you can do chin tuck exercises to build your capacity to prevent that from happening and this from being strained. Shoulders, they often come forward. That's just our whole life is forward. Computers are always a lot of this happening, a lot of this happening. So stretching your pecs is the simplest way to bring some relief to the buildup of strain, to reconfigure your body. Now, we're taking the strain in your body and we're trying to reduce it, to eliminate it. So this is what this is all about. So you have to do a little bit of personal investigation to figure out where in your body that's going to be the most effective. And then again, you just do those two things. You stretch the tight areas and you strengthen the weak areas. And don't be afraid to ask for some specialist help in figuring out what those areas are for you if it's not already obvious to you. There's a lot of tools that I've found and that you've probably found. Rely and use these things. Take advantage of them. There's some really wonderful things. A couple of my favorite underutilized tools would be this one in the bottom left that you see that the guy is squeezing his forearm here with this dual roller. This is a cool one because a lot of people have forearm tension. Some people think they have carpal tunnel if their wrists are sore, but it turns out being tension up here causing some strain and inflammation. Taking this thing, if that's where you happen to build up a little strain, and just having that on your desk and doing that once in a while is an amazing way to just reduce the strain that's there. The back bridge is the other. We often come forward in our day, we slouch and our posture gets fatigued. So having something to reduce the impact of that is really powerful. And then of course there's massage guns and rolling balls and foam rollers and stretches. But be specific for what your body needs, not what your partner, your friend, the YouTube channel that you watch. Figure out what your body needs the most and stick with that. Now shifting into the fun part. Invigorating, there's a few things that work better than others, okay? Well, caffeine is my favorite. This is the good one, but that's artificial. What we need to stimulate our body and our nervous system in a really healthy, sustainable way is this one. People don't like this one, but it's just effective. So I'm going to say it anyway. That basically taking a cold shower. Okay, if you take, it's not a practical thing to do multiple times a day, but just saying it's very effective because what it does is it stimulates your nervous system in a healthy, controlled environment. And then what happens is you get a real sharp dip in the sort of muscle tension that you're holding that's neurological. If anyone's ever been to the cold plunge in a spa, you realize afterwards you kind of just melt. All the tension is just gone because you've gotten stimulated, hyperstimulated, and your body has to re-regulate the state of your nervous system, and you equalize at a much healthier level than you were before, okay? Heart rate fluctuations. This is just a simple way of saying move. Get some exercise, get your heart rate up, because your body's an amazing piece of machinery that produces all these chemicals and endorphins that serve you really, really well. So if you just do something extremely simple like run up a flight of stairs, do some push-ups, jump on the spot, it can be really quick way to dose yourself with very healthy endorphins and hormones that help you ultimately to regulate your energy levels much more effectively. You're signaling your body to produce more energy, quite literally. Music, again, our brains are very sensitive to patterns of sound, and you can actually stimulate shifts in your brain's wavelength with certain types of music. And it's a little variable person to person, but it's quite reliably effective. And so putting on music that gets you pumped up is actually a measurable way to improve the way that your body is regulating energy. And bouncing is a bit of a goofy one to say, but it is true. It's an extremely simple, safe, doesn't matter if you're old with knee pain and, arthritic back, you can still, just stand there and do a little bouncing. it's a really simple way to get all the tissues in your body moving simultaneously. Okay, so you can do vigorous bouncing, you can do simple bouncing, but again, a little goofy, but it's absolutely true. So all of these, except perhaps the cold shower, are things that you can do really quickly in short amounts of time and have a really significant improvement in the physical state. Which then, and of course, don't forget the beautiful coffee. So this is the neurophysiological change. That's a big word. It's just your nervous system and your physiology, your body, your biology. This is how we hack our nervous system and our biology to change its state. So if we just have 5 minutes of each of these, 15 minutes later, you're going to feel dramatically different. Okay. And you have to pick the ones that suit you best. I can't tell you, oh, do the jumping jacks and go in the shower and then do this. And that's not going to work for everybody. What works for my body, is different from what's going to work for you. But if you take each of these categories and you do something within it that works for you, it's going to work. If you happen to be somebody who has intelligently got into something called time boxing, which is to arrange the time of your highly focused work into very specific increments so that you can maximize productivity. If anyone's interested, look up the Pomodoro method. If you do that, then these little 5 + 5 + 5 breaks are really powerful as a way to use in between your intense focused work sessions. Okay, so people who are really into productivity and optimizing themselves can be integrating this set of calm, rebalance, invigorate into their Pomodoro or time boxing techniques.
Jonas, we had a question come in from Tammy asking if the order is important. And
it is very, yes. Thanks for asking that. So it is important because you need to sort of do this. This is a really crude explanation as to why it's important. But think about, I'm going to stick with the crude one. And if we have to go into more detail, I'm happy to. But say this is your baseline. Your nervous system is firing. It's sending signals to your brain sending signals to your body, your muscle tension's going at a certain rate. Over the day, it goes like this. It creeps up, just like the tension in your shoulders creeps up as you get more stress, things happening through the day. So what happens is your nervous system is a little bit hyperstimulated. And what you need to do is trigger a reset back to your baseline or lower so that you're calm again. And the way you do that is first you stop. You can't start with exercise because you're going to overstimulate your brain and your body. So the order is crucial. You first need to slow yourself down. Then you need to do a little bit of therapeutic work. Then you need to do the invigorating at the end, because if you end with something calm, you're not going to be really ready for the focus. If you start with something invigorating, you might be overstressing yourself. Good question, Tammy.
Amazing. Jonas, we are a few minutes over now, and I know there's a couple other sessions starting shortly. So thank you everyone for joining. Jonas, thank you for sharing your wisdom. Is there, I was just going to say, any closing remarks you'd like to share with the group?
Just that's it. Pick the things that work for you, do them together, do them in order. And if you need any help, you need any support, then don't be afraid to reach out either to me or to anybody else.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. Yes, if anyone would like further information, and I wish we had a little bit more time, feel free to reach out to Jonas. I'm sure you can find Jonas on LinkedIn. Reach out to him through Recharge as well. We have a couple sessions starting in the next 5 minutes. One will be on a culture of communication and the leadership advantage, and the other, finding your voice and reconnecting with your personal power. So Jonas, thank you again for such an amazing session. It was very interesting.
Thank you for hosting so graciously, Kata.
Absolutely, a pleasure.
And thanks everyone for joining. Enjoy the rest of this wonderful event.